momentum is the name of the game. It's the momentum that carries it into more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So anything that you catch in the early stages doesn't develop into something bigger that is unwanted. But catching something in the early stages requires sensitivity to the vibration of those early stages. And so many of you are so busy and are not sleeping enough and are not doing that many nice things for yourself and are in a sort of attitude of service. And so you, just by the nature of your action-oriented world, you get yourself depleted, and then it's hard to find a thought that feels better. But we would like you to just be a little nicer to yourselves. Look for a little more rest. Look for a little more something that feels good to you. Even if it's only 5 minutes that you can stop and sip something that is pleasing to you, take the time to do it and breathe with a sort of thankfulness while you're doing it. Think in terms of energy replenishment first and foremost, and a lot of the things that have been bothering you will begin to subside. There's another piece to this that we want to contemplate with you, and that is, we touched on it briefly just now. If you accept that you're a vibrational first and foremost, well, that's not the easiest concept to wrap your head around, because you've been used to looking at your action world and looking at your physical things and your physical symptoms or your physical whatever. So to begin all of a sudden viewing things vibrationally is not the easiest thing. But if you will try to view things emotionally and just say to yourself, everything has an emotional basis, which means everything has a relational basis, which means my inner being has an opinion about this and I have an opinion about this, and there is a vibrational relationship between those two perspectives, which can either be alignment and exhilaration or can be resistance and discomfort. So if that's the only thing that you take away from a conversation like the one that we've had going on here today, that will satisfy you for the rest of your life. You will never again not know what it is. So you say, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Well, if you're in a place of resistance where you're not hearing clearly, then you might assume that it is that or that or that or that or that. But the better you feel and the longer you feel better, then the more those moments in time will show you what you need to see. The universe will point right at what it is, what it really is. You'll have an experience that'll show you some of it's there, and another experience will say, well, there's more of it's there. Then another experience will say, well, there's some more of it. And after a while, you get clarity. You get clarity about what it is. And once you get clarity about what the subject is that's causing the discord within you, then you can do something about thinking differently about that subject. So it's just little by little, and let it be fun. The statement that we would offer if we were standing in your physical shoes regularly every day is, things are always working out for me. And then if you want to get really clear about it, things are working out for me in exact proportion to my allowance of them working out for me. Things are working out for me as good as I will allow by the current perspectives that I hold about things. Now we're getting a little wordy. Things are always working out for me, and to the degree that I allow them to work out, they work out. Someone said, well, how long? What's the timing? Well, it depends on how long it gets you to feel better more of the time. So when you have a moment that feels particularly good to you, and by that we mean clarity or some exhilaration, it's that feeling of not doing anything to cause resistance. Your cork will float on the water. That's what alignment is, unless you hold it under the water. So when you hold it under the water, when you let go of it, it bobs back to the surface. But once you got hold of that cork, sometimes it's hard to let go of it because you feel so justified in hanging on to it. It's about this and this and this. If you don't drag it down there to begin with, it's easier to stay there than it is to let go of the cork. But it ought to be pretty easy to let go of the cork, don't you think? Don't you think it ought to be pretty easy to let go of it, unless you're defending your position because you're trying to get somebody else to join you, to empathize with you? Esther finally gave up on us joining her in her negative thought. She said, Abraham, you just need more information. I'm pretty sure if you had all the information I have that you'd agree with me. But after a few decades, she has come to know we're not going to do that. And if she wants relief from the only thing that makes her not feel good, which is not allowing the fullness of us, then she'll find a way to more often allow the fullness of us.